And we're live. It is Friday, November 20th, 2020, 5:01 p.m. Georgia has certified its vote. Boris Johnson is still the Prime Minister of the UK. I don't know why I brought up Boris Johnson. It's like a reflex to say something about Boris Johnson, even though I haven't done it in a long time. Um, uh, and uh, uh, I did not feel like finding a guest for today. And Kate
Me neither.
wanted to go ride her horse. And I thought, what a great day it would be for this idea that has been percolating around in my head for a while, which was, we have this awesome audience, and which ranges from, really cool, interesting students to former heads of state. Um, and they come on and they ask really great questions, and sometimes we learn incidental things about them, and sometimes we kind of develop offline relationships with them and they with each other. But the audience is never the guest, and so we never have this time where we kind of like meet the audience. And so I thought, maybe today is the day that the audience should be the guest. So I called Kate and suggested this, and rather to my surprise, I told her it might be a stupid idea, but she was enthusiastic about it. And so she went and off and rode her horse, and I took a nap, and we didn't have to recruit a guest for today. And so this is about as close to being allowed to have fun anymore as we get. We're not allowed to have fun anymore. In lieu of fun, we have you guys. And of course, the moment I posed the question to the audience of which of you volunteers to be raptured in to have a conversation about yourselves, the first, immediately there is a discussion of procedure. And so our first audience member that is guest, Genevieve della Farrah, student of one Kate Klonek's, awesome in lieu of fun participant all the time, has an important procedural question that I don't think we can actually proceed without resolving.
Hey guys, I just wanted to know, can we ask questions of the audience members brought on, or should we just ask them in the chat?
All right, so the answer
Well,
is...
let's put it to a poll.
Yeah, I think we gotta, first of all, we gotta poll this. Should audience member take questions in their capacity as guests? Question mark. Yes, no, it's your damn show. You decide. All right. We're going to follow the audience's lead on this. Looks like yes and you decide are competing. Oh, yes is actually kicking ass. So you're going to have to take questions, Genevieve.
Oh dear.
Do you?
Oh.
So here's the first one. Do you go by Genevieve, or do you go by some of the hundreds of ways to shorten Genevieve?
It depends on how confident I am in the person's ability to pronounce Genevieve. So when
Who
I
mispronounces Genevieve?
often,
That's a lot
How does it get
yeah.
pronounced?
I've gotten Guinevere, I've gotten Generva, there's a lot of,
Generva.
yes. I'm like, I don't see the R or the W, but we're going to go with it.
All right. So your preference is Genevieve if you have high confidence that the person can pronounce it. But if you don't have high confidence of that, what do you default to? Jenna?
No. Sometimes Vive, my family calls me Gigi. So it's,
Aw.
yeah.
All right. And where is the Della Farrah clan from?
New York, Long Island specifically.
And so you are which species of law student? Are you a 3L at this point?
I'm a 2L and very unclear as to what I'm going to do because there's just so many options.
Excellent.
We should talk at some point, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. If we're in session, hopefully we are. So
I know it's madness.
yeah.
All right.
Are you taking any classes in person right now, Genevieve?
No, they're all. My schedule just happened to work out to be all online, and
Yeah.
I think they're now differentiating so you can kind of have the option.
Cool. Awesome.
All right. So tell us the Genevieve della Farrah story.
It's not very interesting. It's
No, we're going to be the judge of that. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
you know.
So I think the most interesting thing is that I'm from a family of 8. So that's usually the fun fact. Yeah.
Wait, 8 kids or 8 total?
Yeah. 8 children.
Like with parents.
Yes.
Wow.
And
That's a lot. Any twins in there?
Are you like the oldest, the youngest, the middle?
I'm the eldest, and then there are 7 boys.
Wow. And how young is the youngest?
He's 19. He was just bemoaning yesterday that he is going to be so old because he's turning 20, and I told him he wasn't allowed to say that anymore.
So, but wait, so that's not just 8, that's 8 in rapid succession.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How old are you? You've got to be you're only like, how many years difference is there between the two of you?
I'm 33, so there's a 14-year age difference.
Wow.
So
still,
8 kids
that's
in
pretty
14
fast.
Years. It's impressive.
Wow. That is impressive. That's a lot of time being pregnant.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Your mom is a hero. That's crazy.
You know, there's a word in Russian that the Soviets used to use for women who had 10 children, which is matskaroinya, which is the heroic mother, yeah, I don't think it's still used. It was a real sort of Soviet post-war, you know, when they had depopulated, or Hitler and Stalin had teamed up to depopulate the country.
I'm gonna have to learn how to pronounce that because she's a force of nature. She's incredible.
Were you the only one with your own room, and then like everyone else had to share, and they hated you?
No.
Well, I guess you kind of left, like, by the time. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, we joke that there's 2 different families, like the older kids and the younger kids, and it's been like a very different experience for both of us, and we joke around about that. But for the most part, I think we were all pretty okay. So
wow,
yeah,
that's awesome.
What was your in the time between college and law school? There are several years there for you. What were you doing with yourself?
I was working in business development for a small pharma company.
In New York, or?
Mm-hmm. It's very small. You wouldn't have heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Well, very cool. So we have demands in the chat to always ask how you came upon In Lieu of Fun. But in your case, we kind of know the answer to that because you were sort of with us from the beginning because you're a student of Kate's. Is the story any more complicated than that?
A couple of students actually were watching, and so it was just a combo, and I checked it out, and I was like, oh, this is a really great show.
That's cool. Really funny.
All right, so
I didn't know that more than you watched. That's a little disconcerting, but like I think fine. So
I don't know how many more have. It's not like a low key topic. It's just that it was just a one-time thing, and I really enjoyed the show.
So I just developed the next procedural thing on In Lieu of Fun for this episode, which is that the guest gets to choose the next guest. Ooh. So if you look in the question and answer, then you get to decide who you want us to interview next.
I'm drunk with power.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go in the most democratic way, and I'm going to pick Tony Cava.
All right. Tony
nice.
Cava it is. Thank you, Genevieve.
Thank you, everybody.
For being our first guinea pig, and also for the excellent procedural question. I did. Oh, we have one other procedural matter to resolve, which is how people should pose questions to the guests if they want to pose questions to the guest. And I think the answer to that has to be in the chat, because otherwise it will be impossible to figure out who's volunteering to be a subject and who is posing a question. So if you have questions, I'm going to leave Genevieve up here while we talk to Tony. And if you have questions for either Genevieve or Tony Cava, put them in the chat. Tony.
Ben, Kate, Genevieve, how are you?
I feel like we know you so well, and yet other than knowing that you live in California and that you're one of the most reliable questions.
Wait, he doesn't live in California.
Yeah, he
I'm
does.
Actually up
in Washington.
Northwest.
He's in Washington.
Washington.
Sorry.
Near the murder hornets, not far from the murder
Yeah, he's near Blaine.
Right. And I know that your family's from Calabria. Or at least
my father's father was from Calabria. My mother's mother was from Palermo, from Sicily.
Gotcha. So this is basically all we know about you. So who the hell are you?
Well,
no, wait.
Nobody.
He has a dog named Momo that looks like Nina, and
That's
he
true.
has training a blue jay to come to him and a squirrel. And I don't know how that's going, but that's one of my questions.
And he has a relationship with local with local corvids, which I have to say I have a lot of time for. Yeah, but I have pictures of you feeding corvids.
Yes, you do. But she's the one who's actually become friends with them and goes out for drinks. And there's a flock of about 10, 15 of them that come reliably every morning. And I feed the squirrels in the morning. But I came to the show. I think I came, you might have mentioned it on Rational Security or something like that. It's one of those things where I can't actually remember how I discovered you, but this has been the best thing about the pandemic has been this whole scene.
That's a low bar to clear.
Yeah, I was just
better than death.
You like
better
push
than
someone down like a steep hill, and you're like,
yeah. But where else can you discuss, body floss, and all that? So,
yeah, that was excellent.
That was disturbing.
That was you guys got to do more art shows. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben, I wanted to talk about that. We've gotten so into doing politics and elections and national security. It would be fun to go back to generalist stuff a little bit. I was thinking maybe it'd be good for our mental health.
So look,
like a palate cleanser.
I am all for that stuff. My connections in that world are not as good as my connections in the world of national security. That said, the Nivola clan and Pietro was as close to a mentor as I have had and was somebody who I cared about very, very deeply, and I've kind of gotten to know the family, and I'm remain close to Catherine, his wife. And I've gotten to know the family through over a number of years. And I like Sandro a great deal. Sandro's brother, by the way, Adrian, who's a sculptor in Brooklyn, is also an amazing guy. It's just that I happened to be getting audience requests for Sandro and Emily Mortimer.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can do that.
Yeah, it was great. I've done some acting, and in fact, Una and my wife, met when she directed me in a play. And,
wow,
met cute. And so hearing about, his process and everything, as well as hearing about his parents and, everything else, the art collection was just, it was a real palate cleanser, and it couldn't have come at a better time, actually.
No, the art. I mean, he actually went easy on the art community around in that area of Long Island. It was an incredible thing, and I took it easy in talking about the Steinberg work around Pietro's house, and there are actually 20 or so of those birthday books. Steinberg made one for Pietro each of his first 20 birthdays.
Wow.
I've only seen one of them. But it's an incredible, and actually one thing that Sandro didn't really talk about was his grandfather's work, his Alessandro Nivola. So my section of Brookings, all the art is Constantine Nivola art.
Wow.
It's all like it's lent to Brookings by the family, and there's a big mural at the Harvard International Law Library that like this is a sort of significant emigre art figure of the type that like you don't like most people have not heard of, but the community that was producing the stuff that everybody has heard of regarded extremely seriously. And so when you go out to their house in it's a farmhouse in near Narragansett, there are de Kooning paintings, like just murals painted on the walls, and it's an amazing collection, and the circumstances of its collection make it all the more so. So, what do you do for a living?
Oh, cool. Well, I do architecture.
Are you a second-year law student too?
I'm not a second. I play one on the internet, but I offer like free law advice, which is worth what you pay for it. I studied art and architecture in school, and I do architecture up here. I've been working remote since March, so I'm kind of blessed in that I have a career that I can do that, and stay safe. My wife's a writer, and she's on the other side of the partition here, and we share an office. And luckily we got kind of set up nice and comfortable, and we're able to ease into this. I studied art at San Jose State in the Bay Area, and studied in Florence art history for a year. And then when I got done with that, I was working for architects and got interested in architecture, and got into Cal. I applied with a woman who I had a crush on, and I just applied so I could hang out with her over the weekend. And I got in and she didn't. So that whole thing kind of went by the wayside. I spent 3 years at Cal. And I had some success there. I went on a traveling fellowship and got a Volkswagen van and drove across the country for like 9 months, lived in a van, like 30,000 miles, and broke down all over the country.
Excellent.
So, yeah, I've been pretty lucky.
Cool.
So, and are you, and where are you from originally?
I grew up in Sunnyvale, California, which it kind of went from being orchards to being Silicon Valley, kind of.
And it has a like real Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibe.
I never watched Buffy, but I'll take you.
No, but Kate will tell you. This is very important to Kate, and she will be thrilled to know that you're from Sunnyvale. Did you hear that, Kate?
What did I miss? Hold on. What did I miss? God, I'm so frustrated.
Tony Cava is originally from Sunnyvale, California. I told you.
Buffy!
I've
really?
never gotten this reaction.
Are you really?
That's awesome.
I thought they made that up. I thought that they made up that name. It sounds like such a California name.
The Ames.
Mike Godwin says that's Sunnydale.
Mike Godwin.
Sunnyvale.
Yes, no, it is Sunnydale. I thought you said Sunnydale. I was like,
I did.
I'm like, I've heard of Sunnydale, California, but I was
in
like,
an honorary sense. It's the right.
Right.
Okay, I feel better now. They did make up Sunnydale.
I'll tell you 2 cool things about Sunnyvale, then maybe we'll get somebody else in here. But one is it's really near the Ames Research Center, NASA. And when I was like 8 years old, I sent them designs for a rocket to Mars. And I waited and waited, and I got this huge package back like 2 months later. And I thought, oh my God, they're going to build my rocket. And it was, full of PR stuff and books signed by astronauts and stuff. But I thought for sure they were going to build my rocket.
And that's why you make fun with crows now, because they just didn't believe in your dream of this.
Yeah.
And
So,
now,
hey,
now you're an lonely old man that talks to crows, Tony.
oh, my wife will like to know that I'm a lonely old man. But thank you very much.
All right.
I just look like one. Okay,
so this is the part.
I.
This is the part where Genevieve disappears. So wave goodbye, Genevieve.
Okay.
And
bye,
Tony becomes the person waiting in the wings in case people have questions for him. And before he does that, he chooses the next guest.
Right. So I guess I will follow Kate's lead, Genevieve's lead, and let's bring in Richard Wattenberger.
Richard Wattenberger. Which may be pronounced Wattenberger.
He shows up as the top.
Yep. Here he comes. Richard.
Here I am.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice meeting you. There we go. With the hand.
So you are, I think, a music historian. Is that right?
That's correct. I'm a music historian. But I come about it in kind of a crazy direction. I grew up doing music. My parents were both music professors, and then I ended up getting involved in this crazy religious cult and got out of music and went into math and worked as an engineer for a few years, hated it, went back to grad school, got a doctorate in musicology, and then got out and worked in IT for a long time. And a few years ago, I got back out of IT and went back to musicology and teaching. So that's my zigzaggy path.
Wait, wow. Was the weird religious cult a joke, or were you referring to math, or was there actually a real religious cult that you got involved with?
It was a real weird religious cult. It was a fundamentalist Christian charismatic group that was in the South in the late 70s and 80s.
And how long were you involved with it?
I was there for 3 years, and eventually, I got disillusioned, and as tends to happen, or you hope happens in cults, and got out and got my head straight again.
And so what period?
I'm kind of fascinated by that.
What period of music are you? Do you do most of your work in?
So I've done most of my work with turn of the 20th century, Germany and Austria, and especially Richard Strauss and Mahler, and I've done a little bit with Mozart. I'd like to do a lot more with Mozart, but we'll see what unfolds over time.
And are you so? Do you do this professionally? Are you a professional music historian, or is that just what you are in your heart?
No, I publish, and I like I said, I've been teaching some at Temple for the last few years. This year I'm not teaching because of the budget cuts that they've had because of COVID, but I hope to go back to that when things return to sanity. But yeah, I do music, music history. So
very cool. And how did you discover In Lieu of Fun?
I think I knew about it somewhere in the back of my mind, but what really got me in is I follow Scott Shapiro's Twitter feed, and he mentioned, I'm going to be on In Lieu of Fun. And I thought, this is great. When I
He's great, isn't he?
Yeah.
I have such a fun time whenever he's on the show.
It is a great feed too. I would say that there was, I was at Yale doing my PhD, and I to get in to a PhD program there, there were only
3 people in my class. So it was a very small program. And so like they read everything about you. They know you really well. And apparently he had been on the admissions committee. But then he didn't do anything with the program for like the 3 years that I was there. So I like never met him. But he like knew all about me because he'd been on the admissions committee and I didn't know that, but like whatever. And so he just like stopped me in the hall one day and I'd only ever kind of seen him around, and he just is like kind of goes very quietly from like one room to the other. And he was like, I love what you're writing.
Uh-oh.
Frozen
Kate? Are you there, Kate?
Yeah.
Okay, we can still hear. We can hear you again.
Oh, okay. I'm just frozen up. Okay. Anyways, he was just kind of ended up like I met him in the last 6 months of being at school, and I just was like, oh man, this would have been awesome if I had known how funny you were this entire time. What a waste. But yeah, we're redeeming ourselves now in COVID. So
yeah, I mean, he strikes me as not just funny, but almost too smart to be funny. And so his, like I said, his Twitter feed's a blast, and I don't know where he gets all this stuff, but it's
he has like 8 screens. It's like, it's all
very,
like constantly.
Very pro.
Yeah.
All right. So Ann K rightly points out that if we are just going to always pick the person with the most upvotes,
yes,
then we may as well just go in order of upvotes. So I declare that the Genevieve precedent is hereby defunct, and that it is actually the obligation of the guest to scroll through the Q&A and find like somebody who...
Well, I think that this just means that we have to pick Anne.
But it is up to the guest. And
yeah, okay.
This is the part where we dismiss Tony. Goodbye, Tony. And we relegate Richard to the...
Who said about this thing about canoeing? That's funny.
Yeah, I vote for Anne. Because we want to have a strong representation of historians here, and so that's my vote.
I'm sorry, I missed out on that for a second. Who is your vote?
I said I voted for
Anne.
Let's make Anne happen. The famous Anne Kornhauser. I just want to also point out that the canoeing reference almost certainly comes from. I know exactly who it's from, but I'm looking for Anne. It is from Ave. There's Anne, but she's not available.
Bummer.
Anne, what happened to you?
Yeah, I know. Bummer.
Well,
so how about...
No, how about Pauline?
Pauline it is.
Yeah.
Yes. And here she comes. And you can leave your questions for... Oh, wait. Anne says she's here. But she is not rapturable for some reason, according to Crowdcast. So we are going to work on that while we're chatting with Pauline. Hello, Pauline.
Hello, Pauline.
Hi, Pauline.
Hi.
Part of the Quebec contingent on In Lieu of Fun.
Yeah, hi.
How are you?
Hi.
Dark, but anyway.
How did you discover In Lieu of Fun?
From you, Ben. I discovered you from Rachel Maddow when she had a thing on about your...
about Baby Cannon.
Baby Cannon and the tick, tick, tick thing. So it's that long ago. And then I've been following you ever since. And then just, when I was home from COVID, I just started working from home. And then I saw your tweet about this kind of show, and I figured, sure, sounds good. And that's it.
Because you've been kind of with us, like, from the beginning, I think,
absolutely,
right?
From the beginning.
And I was doing this in my kitchen before I was doing it from the deck, and before I was doing it from this weird room in the back of my house.
And you live in Montreal, right?
Close to Montreal.
And
Suburb.
and what do you do?
Yeah.
Well, right now it's an office job. I do some customer service, mainly answering customer emails. And but I've done different things. I was a stay-at-home mom for all the time my kids were in the house, so that was my main.
A lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of work.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just wondering about Ben, because Ben bears an amazing resemblance to my late uncle, and I'm just wondering if he had any family coming from Romania.
I did actually, but it would be it's maybe 1/8 of my family. It's not a substantial. It's not a substantial number, but there are Montreal witnesses who are now Toronto witnesses.
This doesn't ring a bell, but the name would be Fischler.
I'd have to look that up.
Yeah.
I have family from French Canada. It's why I like to think that I'm so weird. It's like,
What's weird about French Canada?
Oh, come on.
I love French Canada.
I know, but like, come on. I'm not. It's a very it's like a very friendly, but like kind of a little bit different. Like you saw the Olympics, like they did like this whole. I don't know. I mean, I just kind of think that there is this really great kind of like mix of like country and weird and quirky and kind of like European and American and Canadian kind of vibe in French Canada. Am I like completely making this up? I feel like this is a thing, like a stereotype.
Pauline?
Oh, there she is.
Oh, I was trying to make.
Am I?
Later, but no, it's the culture is completely different. It's absolutely unique. Like I have. Can you hear me? Because
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I can hear you perfectly.
I mean, I'm I'm an Anglo. My English was my first language here, and I'm not too into the French culture, but my kids are more because they learned French properly. The way they taught French when I was a kid was like horrible. Someone asked if I'm a fan of woodpeckers. Yes.
How did you get into bird watching, Pauline?
Oh, that came late. My kids grew up. I separated from my ex and moved into a condo like near the water here, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I found it. I didn't want to take walks by myself, so I brought a camera, and then got into a lot of just nature photography and stuff. And then
I love that you say that you didn't want to take walks by yourself, so you brought a camera.
There's nothing solitary about that.
Yeah, but I actually like that gives you it's such an empathetic thing to say. Like you don't feel lonely because you think of all of the things that you're like saving to share with other people later. Exactly. I think it's like a lovely thought.
It worked. I guess I'm mainly pretty much of a hermit, and I have a few friends in the area, but still, I mean, I was in the community a lot more when my kids were little, but I've gone back to my hermit ways. Still good friends with my ex, and just taking nature pictures got me sucked somehow into birding.
And that's awesome.
Excellent.
I don't know that much about it. Rob there in the audience is much more knowledgeable, but I'm learning, and this is like maybe 5-6 years birder.
Cool. My grandparents were both ornithologists, and I grew up doing a lot of it, but I've it's comes back, but it's been really nice to be on the Cape for 9 months because we've watched the migrations come in both times. So that's been really cool. The birds really change a lot.
No, so they're amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You look at the Cornell web pages and you can get maps of the migrations. It's just like unreal how they go for thousands of miles.
Yeah.
So we are going to say goodbye to Richard.
Bye, Richard.
See you later.
Bye.
And Pauline, you should choose from the list the next guest who can be anybody other than Ann Kay, who is now here. Hello, Ann.
Hello. How are you?
So-
I really did it.
Oh, I picked the one after Anne?
Yeah, you pick the person who's going to go after Ann, and it can't be the person at the top of the list, although this is a very unfair rule to poor David Botts, who we will figure out.
Wait, since this was my suggestion, it's not that that the top of the list should be banned for the whole program. I'm just saying, can we try to mix it up a little?
Yeah. No, I'm for you. We're gonna get David Botts in. David,
I'm sure.
David never.
It would,
I say this.
Day.
I have a lot of questions for
We are
David.
not underrepresented in David Botts. So,
How does he pronounce?
Anne,
Okay.
you are a historian at the City University of New York. You are a Legal Times legend.
Apparently.
Yeah, no, that's like seriously true. I mean, I had to learn that this Ann Kay was Anne Kornhauser from
In my
Danny
defense,
Clydeman.
this is a little bit my fault because she did write me, but she wrote me like at the beginning of the show when we were talking about doing a Civil War historian, Ben, and I was like,
Yeah, but how were you supposed to know that?
No,
that
I
she
didn't
would-
know.
But
I
I
said
was
I
like-
had been at Legal
yeah.
Times, but
Oh,
right before
Yeah.
you, and that I,
oh, okay.
But basically I was like barely keeping my head above water with like finishing teaching and deadlines and all of this other stuff. And so like I just saw Anne's email and was like, oh, I'll deal with this in like 2 to 3 months. And by that time I kind of had like started a dialogue with Anne and then like on Crowdcast and everything. And so I just never got back to the email. But anyways, I will take some blame.
no, you shouldn't. Anyway. What do you want to know? I can. Well, can I just make an observation? Actually, 2 observations about the Crowdcast crowd. My fellow audience members, who I like to call the Greek chorus. First of all, you guys are just amazing. You're just so smart and
It's a
interesting.
really amazing, great group.
Right? And I would say
group.
that there's something about Kate and Ben that has attracted such a great group of people. So that I just think, thank you. And then the second thing is more sociological, and I will say one biographical element before I make the point, which is that I'm from a family of sociologists.
So you were like the black sheep in the family who became a historian?
Exactly. Thank you. That's my line, and I'm sticking to it. I went a very radical turn there.
I'm from a family of biomedical researchers.
Right.
And, my grandfather was a chemist, and like I'm the first person in like ages in my family who doesn't have a PhD at all. So I just want to say the apple didn't fall too far from the tree.
Exactly. I have more respect for you, Ben, and for you, Kate, actually, who didn't do exactly what your parents did. Anyway, but it goes back to, I'm 3rd generation. My grandfather was at the University of Chicago and then at Wayne State as a social psychologist and industrial psychologist. So, I think I felt I had to. And I'm an only child, as I was saying in the chat. But my sociological point is that there's a huge Berkeley connection here. I mean, way out of proportion to the numbers. And I'm from Berkeley. My father, that's where he taught for his almost entire career, UC Berkeley. And Tony mentioned his Berkeley connection, but there's others too. I think Chris. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a real Berkeley. I mean, and it's interesting clusters around.
Yes,
certain,
exactly.
Around.
Oh no, Mike Godwin. Chris was born in Berkeley. Christopher, sorry. Okay, so this has to be studied and figured out because I.
Well, I think we should map the Greek chorus, like, who is, and I haven't really looked at it, but I have all the data because Crowdcast, collects on all you people.
Oh,
Um,
great.
I mean, not a lot of information, but it has, everybody's emails and everybody's, um, and so, we could map it all out and create like a heat map but I have to say, some of you people are pretty shy on social media, and we have our very elusive troll who uses
Elusive is the right word.
different emails, and I have not been able to track down who Jane Scott, Pontiac Silverado, Roland,
Possibly Ira.
the
Yes,
list goes
definitely.
on. Most recently, Care Mahana actually may be. So,
Well, I would just say there may be a troll lurking in the question queue, so
Yeah.
we might need to be a little careful about that if
well,
we're choosing people.
hey, I'm excited to meet said person.
Okay.
I tried to get
Well, I'm
Pontiac
not.
Silverado to come on and pose his or her questions. I am convinced this person is female. Kate is convinced this person is
Ooh.
male. Well, because
You know,
I
there
first
are
met
other
this
options
person.
then these days.
Yes, but no, but only two options as described by the various person's names. I mean,
True.
I suppose
Yeah.
male, female, and car. But
Yeah, exactly.
but when I first ran across this person, this person was going by the name Jane Scott and claimed to be from Alaska in YouTube. And so I just want to say to whoever Jane Scott, Pontiac Silverado, Roland,
Ira.
Why do we think it's the same person necessarily, though? And then
because it always does the
Tone.
same thing.
True.
Yeah.
Although
whole-
I fall for it like half the time, which is like
Yes, you do, Anne. And I'm sitting there like, no, Anne, do not
Sorry,
engage.
I'm
Anne,
sorry.
oh God, Anne, what are you doing, Anne? Like, oh well. Like, I should go back
Sorry.
to thinking about what this guest is saying and a next question to ask.
So
Don't
we,
worry. The Greek chorus usually tells me when to.
Yes.
yeah, this is. I think we need, one of the problems is we don't have a unified name for this person, and
Yeah.
so like we end up taking the newfound identity a little bit too seriously for a few minutes. Although what the epidemiologists call the bug to drug time is getting shorter.
Oh my God.
All right.
So I
you-
want to just say one thing. Well, go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I guess. Yeah. I don't want to. This is a great idea, by the way.
Yeah, we have to do
says,
this
I
more
don't know.
often.
For a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should do when some whenever, however many times you want to do it. But I want to make one sort of, I don't know, I don't think it's a political point, it's a policy point, because I don't know how many public sector employees there are on here. I didn't set out to be a public sector employee, but I really wanted to stay, and I ended up, as you mentioned, teaching for the City University of New York, which weirdly enough,
Where my
despite
mom
its
used
title-
to teach.
Really? Which part? Which
Hunter.
college? Hunter.
She was
okay.
a professor in the math department at Hunter College when I
Oh,
was
cool.
when I was a child.
So you spent time
So
in New York?
badass.
I lived in New York until I was 13, and then
Okay.
both my parents went to NIH. So
Bethesda.
but- yes, so I became an NIH brat.
What was I saying? Oh, public sector employee, right? So weirdly, even though it's the City University of New York, I'm a state employee. I'm paid by the state. All of us are, and there's millions of us out there who still are waiting to find out really whether our jobs are viable, and it's really college professors, okay, but it's the police officers and the teachers and and a lot of nurses and doctors who work for public hospitals and just many, many, many other people who have not really been funded yet or by federal funding. So we're hoping.
Yeah,
But in the meantime-
it's a huge issue. We should do something on the state and local government relief issues.
That'd be great.
I
Just gonna. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's a really good point. I mean, it's like, it's an incredible number, just the sheer number of people
Right.
at issue, and also the it's very hard to think of a single issue where congressional dysfunction affects more people, as deeply
Directly,
as the inability to get their asses in gear and deal with state and local governments in COVID.
It's weirdly not talked about very much. I mean, every once in a while the Democrats go, oh, the police and the teachers and but I worry really about the economy, obviously, because obviously the individuals, but it's a macroeconomic nightmare.
No, I completely agree with you, and it's a very good point, and we should do something on it. And Kate, let's remember to chat about that and who we can get to talk about it tomorrow.
I know, and I also wanted to mention to you, by the way, that I hung out with Seth Magaziner a couple of months ago, or a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that after the election, he'd be happy to come back on to talk about stuff, but he just didn't want to do it before the election, so even though he wasn't running. So I think that we should do that. He would have a good sense of it. It really seems gnarly at the moment.
Gnarly.
From what he told me.
Yeah. But it's also intentionally gnarly. I mean, it's like Congress actually wants to starve the state and local governments. It's incredible.
I meant that word in every sense. The politics are gnarly. The problem itself is gnarly, and what they have to ask for is an unpleasant thing to ask for, and they're all of it is kind of a mess. So, and what they have to do is kind of a mess. So it's just none of it is easy.
So Pauline, who are we bringing on next?
I picked Tomas.
Tomas.
Mr. President.
Mr. President. Here, if he's still awake. Thank you, Pauline. We will see you soon.
Take care.
Steady my. Here we go. Sorry.
No, that's better. I can't see anyone. I couldn't see anyone yesterday. It's so sad. It actually feels like a lot, even though I can hear everyone and I can kind of imagine Ben's face at this point. I can't.
That's so weird because we see you really well.
Yeah, Crowdcast is really good that way. When your internet bandwidth is low, it just removes the image so that it's not carrying that, or it blurs you so that it's carrying less bandwidth. So Tomas is accepted and connecting. Hello, Tomas. So we've got a little echo on Tomas, so when he's not speaking, I'm going to keep him muted. So Tomas, you are the only, I think, former head of state who regularly watches in lieu of fun. How did you come to find the show?
He was on
because I know you. I mean,
yeah, but there's a difference between knowing, was the first time you came on, was the first time you were aware of it when I invited you to be a guest on it, or did you have any awareness before then?
It's hard to say. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I knew you. I thought I continued to be a contributor to the canon, as it were. With one or I don't know, but I mean, I just think this is it is the most interesting thing, other than reading all the academic papers I read all the time, that I know, right? I mean, that's the way it is, and this is, I live on my farm on 200 acres in southern Estonia, 200 kilometers south of the capital, in the middle of nowhere, and I have a huge library, and I'm very happy. But this is the one place where I get the kind of academic sort of fun interaction that I don't get anywhere else. So that's why I'm here. Religiously, because it's fucking, what is it? It's 10 minutes to 1 for me.
Yeah, it takes dedication to join us from Estonia. So I want to ask you. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm a former journalist. Don't I get
you do.
My question, Tomas, is you just said you read academic papers, and I'm wondering about what?
Oh, disinformation and hacking. I mean, cybersecurity. I mean, we're the digital country here, and I spent 20 years trying to get that happen here.
You're doing all online voting, right?
Yes, we are. Well, not all. I mean, that you have a choice.
Oh, okay.
The last election, we had 46% of the population voted online.
Wow.
So it's rising from 0.3% in 2005, and now it's 46% because it's so convenient. And it is very secure, unlike Dominion machines.
Oh, God. The communist one. Yeah, right.
Wayland communist one, yeah. Right. I mean, but anyway, yes. And so I'm on here because this is kind of like the closest I get to kind of the freewheeling academic in the evening discussions that I get to. So, and besides, I thought the baby cannon was the coolest thing that I've seen ever regarding politics.
And here she is. But I just want to say, whoa, Tomas, hold on. I have you muted because we'll echo if we talk at the same time. I want to say that gorgeous picture of which I use as a profile picture sometimes, of the baby cannon challenge coin held up with me in the background, was a photograph taken by Tomas, and it is remains a source of great pride to me that I have that picture and that Tomas took it.
I should say, just for future use, the all Estonian words are pronounced on the first syllable, so it's not Tomas, como en español, but it is Tomas.
Fair enough. I stand corrected. All right, Anne, who are we bringing on next?
Okay, I researched this before I came on, but I can't look at the queue while I do this. But I think her name is Eva. She's the canoe person.
Indeed.
Okay.
Whoa, what? Tomas is waving his hands.
I'm the next guy. Don't I get to pick the next one?
You get to pick the next one when you disappear. Anne gets to pick, because Anne is disappearing now, and she gets to pick. And that means Eve Goumont.
And Tomas, you'll be the last pick, so make it good.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, while I'm bringing in Eve, you made a comment in the chat the other day that things were kind of backsliding in Estonia. So give us a little bit of an overview sense of that. How is democracy faring in the Balkans?
Baltics.
Sorry. This is what happens when you multitask.
You might have to unmute him.
He's not muted.
No. Oh, you asked me. It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Baltics.
I do. It's terrible. And then all my time is spent trying to fight these people who are homophobic, xenophobic, racist, and destroying all my life's work by being the way they are. Because I always thought of my country as the ultimate beacon of East European liberal democracy. And now we have a government that is unrolling all of that. And that's why I feel terrible. Thank you.
And what is the composition of the government? Who are they and what are they doing?
There is it's a conservative government, a populist party, and then a far right populist party, and they're calling all the shots because the main party doesn't want to lose their support, because then they won't be in power, because basically most people in Estonia are liberal democratic. I don't mean liberal in the US sense, but kind of like. So it's not good for me.
Keep up the fight. Canoes.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. How are you? So I know the answer to this question because you and I spoke this morning. But for the benefit of those that you haven't recently been corresponding with, who are you and what's your story?
Well, I'll try to make it shorter than what I wrote. I'm a law student in Quebec City, researching on tech law, and also a former canoeing coach who hasn't totally grieved this past job. So since I've seen that you were kind of interested in both canoeing and kayaking, I thought maybe we can have a chat on that.
Excellent. So what, when you say canoeing, you don't mean like a dugout canoe, or a birch bark canoe, that you kind of paddle lazily, down a river. What are you talking about?
I'm into all kind of canoes, but what the kind of sport I was coaching is those like 10 canoes that you've seen in the Olympics. Some canoeing probably is you're kneeling on one leg and paddling in small boats and very tippy, and like there are races of that, like 200 meters, 1,500 meters, and 1,000 meters. So that's what I'm thinking.
And is this along the St. Lawrence? Where do you do this?
No, not on the St. Lawrence. It's there's too much current on the river. We usually do it on lakes or on the basin, like pool made for that. For instance, there's one in Montreal after the 76 Olympics. They built like one big pool, and we're doing it more or less like on those basins.
And how did you discover In Lieu of Fun? Like we haven't done any canoeing episodes.
No. On Twitter. The boat guy, the guy who was building boats with wood.
That's true. And my uncle, who's a kayaker, like.
And got stuck in the mud canoeing.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but I discovered it on Twitter. I've seen I think I was following tech people and probably Kate, and so is the way I discovered it.
Excellent.
Cool.
So we are basically out of time, but I think Tomas will kill me if he doesn't get to name one more person. So Tomas, sure. It's like 3 a.m. for you, but who's going to be our last guest?
I don't know if she's still on, but Petra G is one of the people I follow, or at least I try to follow, on democracy in Eastern Europe. And she is also there, though she's now in Washington, but if she's still on, she was before, she would be very interesting.
We will bring her on. Have a good night, Tomas, and Petra. She is here.
She says sorry, not tonight.
Oh, not tonight. No Petra.
We can promise that maybe we will do the guest as the audience as a regular Friday thing.
Yeah, maybe we should do this more often. What do you think? Is this at least until we get to know more of the audience? I think this should be a semi-regular feature.
Yeah, I kind of like it. It's just like I'm like you said, like I was kind of tired today, and it is kind of exhausting interview. I mean, even when it's easy and you don't have to do anything for it, and you're just kind of, it's like people you know and everything else. It's a little exhausting kind of being on, and this has been fun. And I've been wondering about everyone in the audience for a long time. Like, and they're part of what makes the show so great. So like, this is just really wonderful. It's like fun. And it feels, you know how we had the original, or you had the original concept to make it like a cocktail party? This feels a little bit like bumping into someone at a cocktail party, totally new, and like getting to ask them a few basic questions. It's kind of really nice. Yeah, exactly.
So we will start next time. I see we got this problem though, because the next time we do this, we got to start with Petra, but also you need to give us a suggestion. So who would you, we're going to close with this. Who would you want to hear from? And maybe we will slip that person. Well, because then we'll have to give that person a.
That person. That's what I'm kind of saying. Now we've like you broke the.
I've broken the rule. I set the rule and then I broke.
You created an alternate timeline.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know how we're going to deal with this. Well, let's say if we gave you the choice, who would the next person we heard from be?
Wow, I haven't really looked at it. So it's like skimming really fast. I think you kind of made a promise to David Botts.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. We do have to bring back in David Botts. And then we have
I'm very sad. I've been wondering for forever from like, I want to know about what he's doing to get a background to run on Crowdcast. I also just
want to know about the facial hair. Let's just be serious. That beard requires a discussion.
I know. I want to know also, like, he has the most beautiful porch I've ever seen. That was like a gorgeous like background he had for, I don't know. So
is it real? I thought that was a fake background.
But I think it is his porch. Hello.
Is that your porch, David Botts, or is that a fake? Wait, you're muted.
It was his porch. I can read lips. It said it was his porch.
Wait, he's muted.
Only David can tell us if that's what he actually said.
Yeah.
I just like ventriloquism as one of my talents. I can also read lips.
All right.
See, David, keep talking, and I'll just tell him what you're saying.
I can't unmute him for some reason. So we're gonna have to do this in yes or no questions. Is that really your porch, David? Okay.
Yeah, I win.
Have you ever paddled a canoe on one knee that might tip over? No. So the question I really want to ask is not a yes or no question.
Want you to.
It's
those are not
behind
turnips.
The beard.
Those aren't turnips. Those are parsnips. I swear. I know. But really nice. You almost had me with your. I have a surprise for you tomorrow. I just remind that David's background just reminded me, so I'm excited to show it to you.
I think we're going to have to. Maybe we should just, instead of mystery guest Sunday, we should just continue guests. That's
a great idea.
On Sunday, and we can start.
Let's do that
with Petra.
Are you doing that because it's your turn this week?
I actually had a good mystery guest, but I can do the mystery guest as a regular guest for this week. And we have Jack Goldsmith coming on Monday to talk about slow motion coups, and so we will
long overdue.
Yeah, so we're going to continue this, and we're going to get actually have David Botts audible. Although I love this, ask him yes or no question thing.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. Tomorrow it'll be just us.
That sounds great.
And that'll be 22 hours and 55 minutes from now. And until then, Eve?
We're not allowed to have fun anymore, but great people.
Sorry, you blinked out for a second. Say the last part again.
Very, very nice people.
Excellent.
Meaning very, very nice people.
Great audience.
That's a good
thank
idea.
you all. We will see you tomorrow.
I will see you tomorrow, Ben. And I'm fine, everyone. It is a very mild concussion. I'm fine. I will see you guys soon. Bye. Famous last words.
Cheerful, like, it's all right. It's just a very mild concussion.
I'm only bleeding
Make sure
from
you're
one